Yes. I must confess. Thank God it's Friday, people. It is what it is on the studio here, right here on ISTV, people. Massive day, people. Massive day, I tell you. Thank God it's Friday. Another dimension on ISTV. You know what I'm talking about? People, smash the like on the video. This is Intercontinental Sport TV, live and direct from our studio. It is Friday. Yes, it's Friday. What's going on, people? Smash the like on the video. If you're watching this for the first time, this is Intercontinental Sport TV. You know what I'm saying? I can tell you, on this station, on this channel, when it rains, it pours heavily. I can tell you categorically, it's all about sport. Mondays, we have Monday Sport review show. On Friday like this, we have ISTV Sport preview show for the weekend. I'm not always here alone, always every time with my crew, with my gang, ISTV gang. You know what I'm saying? Kunle is ready, looking so fresh. Your Mediora, I don't know how he's looking. He's fuming as a Chelsea fan. He's angry. It said to me, he sent me a message, please don't talk about Chelsea tonight. I said, okay, your sin has been forgiven. I won't talk about Chelsea tonight. People, Robbie is also ready, smiling, kissing Manchester United, believing that Manchester United will cruise on to fourth place. Also, Nubia Prince is also joining us for the first time in history of ISTV. He's an Aston fan, but don't mess with me. I'm going to give it to them water tonight. It is what it is. But first, let's check out what we have for us today. This is another dimension of ISTV. Come on, let's go. I'll be right back. Tell you all this paparazzi is all for you people. It's to tell you can't find it anywhere. This is a different brand new dimension of talking about sport on ISTV. It's on in the building. Please let me welcome this great gentleman, Kunle. I tell you, Kunle, it's something we're going to talk about tonight. But first, let's discuss this. I'm going to ask you, what is this? Which field? This midfielder are you going to go for? First of all, look at that top one. Top one, that's the Real Madrid. The best midfielder, according to myself. And also, look at that down one. The Barcelona. The trio. Kunle, you're welcome to the show. What's going on, bro? Live.
Good evening, Donny. It's nice to be here once again. And what a week it has been of activities, across the there's really been a lot of activities. Napoli winning the first Serie A title in 33 years.
33 years.
Yes. Manchester United. Yes, and with Victor Osimhen making it happen, that was phenomenal. The guy is already making his way to becoming a legend. Absolutely. Manchester United lost to Brighton and Hove Albion yesterday, like you mentioned. Manchester City, they won. I was actually wishing, I hoped they could have lost, but it couldn't happen. And of course, Chelsea, it seems Chelsea are not going to win any game until the end of this season, the way things are going. So, it was really a fun-filled midweek of football, and can't wait to dissect everything on the show today, and also look ahead to this weekend's games, because the football action never stops.
All right, Kunle, this is my question. If you listen to me carefully, look at what I'm showing on your screen. Which midfielder trio will you pick?
I would pick. I think I would pick. I would pick the combination of Luka Modric Casemiro, and yes, it's not to take anything away from, it's not to take anything away from the likes of Xavi, Iniesta, and Sergio Busquets. It's not to take anything away from them, but I think we need to realize that Modric, Casemiro, and Kroos, they've been together for so long. I mean, Casemiro was still there last season, and it's just now you get like he could still have been there, and these guys have been there as far back as 2014. They've been winning together, and one of the things that actually makes them so unique is actually the fact that how do I want to put it, like even when Real Madrid were not at their best, they actually came. They were the ones who turned up. They were the game changers. You understand? And for you to have those crop of midfielders do it over and over and over again, I think it deserves a mention. Like I said, not to take anything away from the Barca, because let's not forget that these were the same guys who won the World Cup for Spain and also Euro 2012 tournament. But I just think I have something. But like I said, they were not. I feel the longevity of Kroos, Modric, and Casemiro has just been something. Yes, has just been something massive. Almost 8 years. We are the three of them. I mean, it's been phenomenal.
All right, let's go into this. Straight up, I'm going to call on this great gentleman. His name is Robbie. Robbie, talk to me. Are you there? Are you live? Right there.
Good evening to you, Don. Good evening to you.
Brother man, what's going on? You're welcome.
I'm fine. It's good to be on the program this evening. Just like Kole said, there is so much to talk about. We have games coming up thick and fast this weekend, and of course, we're getting to the business end of the English Premier League. And as well as I think the news that has Nigeria on its toes is the news that Victor Osimhen and Napoli won the league yesterday in Italy. And I think it is something that, yes, the league is not played in Nigeria, but the effects of the euphoria is also cascading down to Nigeria because Osimhen dropped a tweet. He dropped a message today saying that for everywhere he has played football in Lagos, that when he comes to Nigeria, he will make sure that he undergoes a tour of that place to tell them how much he appreciates them and to say a big thank you to them. So that tells you the gravity of what this means, not just to the player, not just to Naples, not just to Napoli, but also what it means to Nigeria. Because whether we like it or not, this is more or less going to send out a very clear message to those players out there who have more or less given up on the hopes of playing professional football, who are almost giving up, thinking that nothing good can come out of what they believe they have to show the world. So there are 1,000 Osimhens out there who are going through a lot, but football is more or less the escape route for them. And of course, we're counting down, looking forward to having him in Nigeria and celebrating alongside him for what he has done for Napoli and for the city of Naples. Talking about the game played yesterday, I will tell you for a fact that I was very disappointed with how United played. I didn't give them a chance yesterday because I believed that Brighton were going to get the better of that game. And I said it yesterday that United's away form this season has been terrible. In fact, if we can pull together all the negative words we can monster, it just tells you how terrible United's away form is. At home, they are formidable. But the truth is, if you are going to challenge for the league, just like somebody said, at the point in time, United was second on the log. What happened? Now United have opened the door for a fourth place dogfight because Brighton are in the mix, Liverpool are also in the mix, and if they are not careful, I think they will probably go back next season to play Europa League football. On that note, I say good evening, and of course, let us get cracking.
All right, Robbie, before we get cracking, this question goes to you. Which midfield trial will you pick out of what I'm showing you right now? 1-3 upstairs from Real Madrid. The second one for Barca. Which one will you choose? It's a quick debate.
I think I would stick with the Real Madrid trio. And Kule made some points I would make. very early on, or let me say during my uni days, I had this soft spot for Barcelona, and it was majorly because of Ronaldinho. Later on, Eto'o. Then finally, it was because of Messi. But if you are actually looking at the longevity and what this team has gone to do, you just have no choice but to appreciate and respect what the Real Madrid trio has done. And so far, out of these three players, two of them are still with Real Madrid. So it tells you the continuation of their reign as it is right now. And these players, talking about Modric and Toni Kroos, they are not bench warmers. They are still playing week in, week out for the team. So it tells you their relevance to the team. It tells you their relevance back then, right now, and possibly maybe in a couple of years to come. So it just tells you, and for your information, Toni Kroos has signed a contract extension. That news dropped today. Ooh. So it tells you that Real Madrid are not done with Toni Kroos, and Toni Kroos certainly is not done with Real Madrid. Also, Modric signed a contract extension, I think a couple of weeks ago. So it tells you the intentions of the club towards this amazing talent. Chumani, Kamavinga, they are in the building, and of course, they have very, very good examples to learn from in terms of skills, in terms of the legacy, in terms of the culture of the club. So I will go for Real Madrid any day of the week.
All right, thank you so much. You're muted. Are you in the building? Talk to me, bro. You're welcome to the show. I think I lost Sheye. Sheye, can you hear me? I can't hear you. Can you hear me loud and clear? Yes, or no? All right, I can't hear him. Nubia Prince is here with us for the first time. Please big up to this great man. It's Nubia Prince, all the way from Sport Banter on our channel. Is joining us for the first time. He's a national fan. Let me introduce him. He's a national fan to the core, to the bone, to the flesh, to the living water in his body. He breathes Arsenal. My main guy, what's up, bro? How you doing? Talk to me. You're welcome.
Good evening. Good evening. It's nice to be here. It's nice to be here. So much happening in the world of football. I mean, in midweek, we Premier League. I go back to week. Got that most important 3 points, for that put pressure on Manchester, even though Manchester City responded again, against West Ham, bagging all 3 points, climb back to the summit of the league. And of course, Chelsea's losing run under Frank Lampard continues. And like people have been asking questions, is it possible for Lampard to actually record at least a win? And so many, comments going on saying that Lampard should quit coaching, that coaching is not made for him, he should try something else. So funny. It's so funny when coaches like former ex-coaches like Gary Neville, who failed monumentally with Valencia, comes out to say that Lampard should not coach. And I keep asking, but both Lampard and Gary Neville should be in the same failed WhatsApp group where they be discussing failure. I mean, so funny. How can Neville be criticizing Frank Lampard? Anyways, and for Manchester City, we saw what Alan did. The guy just keeps smashing records. And for me, he has this very annoying habit of having more goals and appearances. How can a player play 32 games and have 35 goals? It's not annoying. He did it with Salzburg. He did it with Borussia Dortmund, and now again he's winning Manchester City. He has more goals than games in the Premier. He has more goals than games in the Premier League. He has more goals than games in the Champions League. Look at the Champions League. He has. I mean, the guy is just astonishing. I find it very ridiculous when people compare him with Osimhen. Osimhen is doing well, but for crying out loud, comparing Alan to Osimhen is like comparing the sky, to the ground. Mouse. And of course, Osimhen does very well. It helps in that long time record. I was saying it on Banter Corner that it looks like Maradona was sitting on the destiny of the teams he has played for in the past. He sat on the destiny of Napoli. They never won anything until he died. He sat on the destiny of Alba Celeste. They never won anything. They didn't win the World Cup until he died. But now that he's dead, of course, it looks like finally their destiny has been released, and now they can fulfill their destiny. And of course, so much happening. And of course, this weekend, Arsenal will be going to Tyneside, St. James's Park. They need to win that game if they want to continue to be in the title race. for me, I keep saying that Arsenal are in the title race. Of course, Manchester United were mentioned in the title conversation just in hush breath. And of course, they died out of the conversation just as they were mentioned. Of course, when you're talking about the title, you have the title, those that are racing for the title. You have Arsenal, Manchester City. You have those that were mentioned in the title conversation, Manchester United and Newcastle. Then, of course, you have people that we just mentioned pre-season. Those were the likes of Liverpool and Chelsea. But unfortunately now, Liverpool are in the Europa League conversation, while Chelsea are trying to beat the drop conversation, relegation conversation. Let's get the show started, guys.
All right, bro. But I'm going to ask you a quick one. This is the question for the quick debate this day. Which midfield trio will you pick?
Yeah, I will go with the trio of Xavi, Iniesta, and of course Busquets. And my reasons are not far-fetched. Number one, they didn't cost Barcelona more. They didn't cost them an arm and a leg, and they were all La Masia products. And of course, these were players that have been playing way back. I could remember when they played the Champions League final under Rijkaard. That was 2006. They were together. They were actively playing. And of course, they still played way back. And of course, if you see the kind of record they set, they are still the only, Barcelona still remains the only club that has won 6 trophies under Pep. No other manager has done that. Yes, you could argue that Real Madrid, the trio of Modric, Casemiro, and Cruz were the only guys to have successfully defended the Champions League. That's also a record, but I still say that winning 6 in a calendar year is almost an impossible record set by these two. And for me, they're going further to actually conquer with their national team is also an added advantage. If you mention the trio of the Real Madrid trio, only one of them has been able to win the World Cup and actually didn't win anything on the continent. I'm talking about the Euros. That's even Cruz. But when you look at Xavi, when you look at Busquets, and you look at, of course, Iniesta, these 3 were part of the Spanish team that won the World Cup in South Africa and, of course, that won the Euros. So for me, I think they stand out really.
All right, fantastic. That will be the first time I'll be seeing someone picking up the trio of Xavi, Iniesta, and Busquets. Let's get the show starting. Kunle, we're going to start this way. We're going to talk about Erling Haaland and Sam Allardyce's appointment, top 4 race, relegation battle, and also we're going to delve into Newcastle versus Arsenal this weekend. I think that's one of the biggest, the big match for this weekend. And also we're going to look at Napoli wins, how they won in the title, Serie A title for the past 30. 33.
33 years, yes. 1990 was the last time they won it.
Jeez, 33. Wow. So we're going to delve into that as well. That's our talking point. And let's look at the match, game 35 for this weekend. Bournemouth will be, Jesus Christ, Chelsea. I'm telling you, this is going to be massive. Bournemouth versus Chelsea. And Man City will also be playing on Saturday. It's going to be against Leeds. That's Sam Allardyce.
Yes, manager bounce. Leeds United to win. Manager bounce. Yes.
All right. Let's move on to look at Spurs as well. We'll be welcoming Crystal Palace. I think at this point, I don't think Spurs for me can make any top 4 in this race.
Nah, they don't. No, they can't.
I don't think so.
They don't look serious.
They don't look serious. Also, Wolves will be welcoming Aston Villa. I think Aston Villa will definitely deal with Wolves. And also, Liverpool will also play Brentford over the weekend. On Sunday, it's going to be Newcastle versus Arsenal, which we're going to discuss today in the preview. And also, West Ham will be welcoming Manchester United. That's another banana skin game for Manchester United. On Monday, the matches, they have 3 matches. Go to continue. Fulham will be welcoming Leicester City, beg your pardon, and also Brighton will be welcoming Everton, Nottingham Forest, Southampton. It's going 35 weeks, and these are the matches for that played over the week, last week Sunday, and on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. You can see that the matches are coming so fast, so fast. And this is the league table at the moment. Only Manchester United is number 4, Newcastle number 3, Arsenal with 78 points, playing 34 games, and Man City without even playing 34 games. They have played 33 games. They have 79 points. Quick one, Kunle, do you think, I mean, we should give it to Man City?
Well, I think it's going to be hard to call. Really, it's
All
really
right.
going to be hard to call. But I think at this point, Manchester City they seem to be in prime position
I am telling you.
because you kind of wonder like where can they lose? Because for me, I think Man City's struggles have been behind them. There was a period in time where they were struggling, and that was why Arsenal were able to build, was it not up to like an 11-point lead, if you remember. But with time, Guardiola was able to fix that issue that they had. And, there was always going to be that point of, can Arsenal really go the distance? And I think now it's clearly showing that it's a bit of a struggle for them because they still have some very big games. They still have some tough games. Yeah, like you're showing. They're going to play Newcastle this weekend. They're still going to play. Sorry, can you go back to Arsenal?
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, they're going to play Newcastle. They're going to play Brighton.
Damn.
Even Nottingham Forest. In Nottingham Forest house is not going to be easy. Because let's not forget that Chelsea could not beat them. Even Liverpool could not beat them at the City Ground. The City Ground is very tough. Even Manchester United had to dig deep before they could beat them there. So it's going to be difficult. I think these are very tough run of games for Arsenal. And, you've gotten to this point where, like, I feel maybe Arsenal are stretched. It's been a very draining season. Let's not say. Let's even leave aside injuries, maybe when they might have had injuries, but these things, it takes a lot of mental resolve. People just say, oh, these players are big, but they are not robots. Okay, they have to play because it is their obligation. It's not even because they are being paid a lot of money. It is their contractual obligation to play because, these things have been paid for broadcasting. That was why you could see during the coronavirus pandemic, all of them, the season had to end, because if the season does not end, it is going to be a problem for the league. So, at the end of the day, the players are the ones who are going to suffer from all these tight fixtures and all. But look, they don't care. The game must go on, okay? It's a little bit unfortunate, but it is what it is, like you would say.
All right. Now let's move on to this great man, Erling Haaland. I don't know how. Robbie, can you please help me with some superlative words we can use to describe this guy? This season, just one season. The league that we said, it's a very hard season. It's a very big league. I mean, with all the matches played over the season, this guy came out to be phenomenal. Can you give me some superlative words to describe this guy going forward?
Okay. Let me quickly describe Erling Haaland, and I would use the match against Arsenal to do it. I think prior to that game, he has been this kind of player that he waits for everybody around him to get the job done, and he just shows up on the scene to mop up. That was more or less what we possibly or probably have seen so far this season. But in that game, he showed a different side of him that most people did not know exists. He can hold up play. In fact, he can practically throw away his primary duty of going up front, waiting for the ball. He can come into the midfield and play as if he's a midfielder. He can play one touch, he can play two touches, he can hold up play. He can do a barrage of things for this team. And I tweeted that day, I said that the influence of Kevin De Bruyne on him has been a very positive one, even though they just started playing together recently. That is this season. For Erling Haaland, talking about his prowess in front of goal, this man has scored all kinds of goals this season. Are we talking about the bicycle kick? Are we talking about the overhead kick? Are we talking about a header? Are we talking about a tapping? Are we talking about a shot? Name it. This man has scored different styles, different kinds of goal. And that is what makes a striker more or less a complete striker. Even his presence alone in the penalty box, or even on this on the match day squad list, sends shivers down the spine of defenders. And there was this quick debate saying that when the likes of Rio Ferdinand came out to say that if Erling Haaland had played during their era, that he wouldn't have it this easy. And I said it is true, because defenders nowadays they would rather stand in front of the camera taking pictures, they would rather shadow mark, or they would rather push somebody else to do the marking or do the dirty job for them, or whatever tricks they have with their sleep. But for Erling Haaland, you cannot take it away from this man. This man is, how do we say now, he's an enigma. He is goal personified. This is the person that makes football much more interesting. The era of Ronaldo, the era of Messi are gradually coming to a halt. And this is the man that will make us stay glued to our TV for years to come. So this is the man. This is the future of football as it is.
Wow, that's massive. Nubian Prince, you want to say something in conclusion with this great man, Erling Haaland? Go for it, bro. What do you have to say about this great man scoring 35 goals, still counting?
Yes, I've always, said a whole lot. When I talk about Erling Haaland, it looks like I wax lyrical, but the truth is, he's a phenomenal player. That was why I get, incensed when people start comparing Haaland with Osimhen. I'm like, excuse me, Osimhen is good in his own right, but please, don't compare. It's like comparing typhoid with, with coronavirus. I mean, one is a pandemic, the other one is just something you pick. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Haaland is just phenomenal. I said it in my intro that this is someone that has made an annoying habit of scoring more goals than games. How do you even explain? How do you even say that? This guy has actually blown through the roof. He has not only cracked the ceiling, he removed the entire ceiling and he's not looking at the sky. Is that formidable? Is that terrible? And the last speaker has spoken. He talked about Haaland doing much more than scoring goals. That was the initial argument that just put the ball on the plate. This is not Ruud van Nistelrooy kind of striker. Haaland can contribute to different phases of play. I could remember when they lost to Brentford. The final goal of Brentford scored by Ivan Toney in the 9 minutes of that game. Haaland was the one that tracked the ball back right from Brentford's goal area. He tracked it down to his own goal area, and even the last pass that came as a cross that Ivan
I think the network
went through his leg. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go on.
Yeah, it was that formidable for me.
I think the guys in Osho, they like Kunle.
Saying that this guy
is breaking. Kunle, Nubia Press lives in Osho, you're aware. I lost him there. I can't hear him right now.
Why are you trying to shame Oshodi, please?
Hey, no.
No slander of Oshodi.
All right, Kule, in a short form, what do you want to say about this guy?
Well, the funny thing was, some days back, I was having a discussion with someone, and I was saying that, I remembered when he was still at Red Bull Salzburg, and when, he was set to leave, and he was linked with Manchester United. And I remember, and people were kind of getting excited, because of the way he was scoring goals. They said, oh, he's the person who would get to change Manchester United, how do I even explain it? Because of his connection even with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because the club he started playing from, Molde in Norway, Solskjaer was the coach at that time. So, Norwegian connection. Solskjaer is Norwegian, he's Norwegian, all of that. But it didn't happen, and he went to Borussia Dortmund. I tell people that it would have been insane for Erling Haaland to have gone to Manchester United from Red Bull Salzburg, because Manchester United, that is not a stable club. That is not the right place for a player that wants to develop. So it is very clear that the few years he spent at Dortmund have helped him. And that is why he is thriving exceptionally well. Yes, that's what the Bundesliga is there for. you see what the likes of Jude Bellingham are doing, or the likes of Jadon Sancho. Trust me, if we had brought, I'm not saying, don't get it wrong, I'm not trying to say Manchester United is not developing talent. Though. We see what the likes of Garnacho are doing. We've seen Mason Greenwood. But the problem with Manchester United is there is too much pressure around that club. Once you don't do well, they will come for you. And, sometimes when the pressure gets into these players, it becomes difficult. But in a place like Bundesliga, there is no pressure. The Bundesliga, no, people don't really watch the Bundesliga globally compared to the Premier League, where all eyes will be glued on you. I mean, Manchester United has the biggest attention of any football club.
Any football club, yeah,
it has the biggest attention. So I feel it wasn't the appropriate. It was, and I'm happy it didn't happen, because I can't even imagine what would have happened. But look at him now. He's thriving. And why is he thriving? He's thriving in a Manchester City where there is already a structure and system in place that is working. So it's so easy for him to score those goals, because even if Kevin De Bruyne is not there, there are already people who can give him. You've seen what Jack Grealish can do. There's Riyad Mahrez, there's Bernardo Silva, all of them work in sync. So it's really scary, because he already has 50 goals in all competitions. He's going to be getting closer to 40 Premier League goals, and if he can do that, it's going to be scary, because Guardiola, City have money, they can attract the best players, and what is going to come with this guy is really scary, and I can't imagine what will happen if City remain this dominant.
All right.
Don, sorry, apologies.
Yeah, I think I lost you there because of your network. Because of our time, I wanted to say something about this game, but I think I'm going to leave it for now, because question have been Robbie, we should forget about this.
Well, for Chelsea, I think they should just forget about it. This season has been utter failure for the Blues, and Frank Lampard. I will repeat it here on this platform, because I said it on my tweet before. A very popular broadcast platform also talked about what I said, and I said this. I said whatever goodwill, whatever legacy Frank Lampard has built in Chelsea, for the fact he came back to Chelsea and at this point in time has ruined that club, he should just forget he ever had a legacy at Chelsea. A popular tabloid almost quoted what I said word for word yesterday when I checked it out. He should forget any legacy he ever had at Chelsea. And at this point in time, I am so sorry for any club that appoints Frank Lampard as a manager again.
Wow, massive. All right, let's move on to this great man. Sam Allardyce is back. Nubian, this guy is back, at least for Leeds United. Imagine 4 matches to go, and they're still signing this great man. I mean, what's your thought about this? Nubian,
for me, I actually think that they are bringing him to avoid relegation. I was saying that managers have different experiences. Some have experience winning titles, going to Europe, while actually have experience beating. And for me, I think it's a unique kind of experience. That's the truth. It's a unique kind of experience. Not every manager can actually, battle the job. Flip the coin, put Pep in Leeds position and say, okay, Pep, your job is to avoid relegation. He might not be able to achieve it. But Allardyce he knows what it takes to actually beat the job. And that's why they're taking him in. And of course, the financial incentive is a huge one. I mean, if he's able to avoid the job, it's 3.5 million. I think he's going to take home. So I think that's motivating enough. But my only fear for him is the players at Leeds United, can they play the Allardyce way? He has a very horrible way of playing. Do they have the materials? He knows how to defend resolutely and, of course, rely on set pieces, dead ball situations to nick one in and, of course, sit on it and frustrate the hell out of you. But now, the players at Leeds United are wired to play.
Can they do this? Yeah.
Allardyce is wired to play, conservative and frustrating, annoying football. So it's like they are poles apart. They are two extremes. So that's my only issue with him. But again, if he can find a way of telling the players that, see, you need to fight for your life, if he can find a way of getting the players to have that, fighting mentality, he might just be able to pull a spoiler and get the job done. Of course, his record of not avoiding the drop has already been shattered. The last job he had, I think, with Watford, he got them relegated. Prior to then, he has never been relegated before. So now he will try to not, he will try to avoid that deja vu and prevent that from happening again. But it's a mammoth task. But trust me, if he's able to get a positive result against Leeds United, that will be a good foundation to build on. And who knows, they might just be able to eventually avoid the drop.
Well, to me, look at the relegation battle for me, Nubia Prince. We have can we say starting from let's say from Southampton, Everton, Nottingham Forest, Leeds United. Can we put Leicester City too? Yeah, Leicester City, and also West Ham.
Even Wolverhampton Wanderers are not safe.
Wolves, really? Kunle, do you agree with that?
They still have Manchester United to play. They still have Arsenal to play. Those are potential 6 points dropped.
No. I think Wolves are kind of safe because it's a 7-point gap. I understand what you're saying, Nubian Prince, but you have to reason that I think where the relegation battle is really going to be between Leicester City, Leeds United, Nottingham Forest, and Everton. Because these are 4 teams, and you can look at the point gap, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even Wolverhampton Wanderers they are 3 points ahead of West Ham, so that is already a good buffer for them. So I think it is really down. I think we can already probably conclude that Southampton are getting relegated. Yeah. So it is really going to be down between those 4.
Those 4.
Leicester City. Yes, Leicester City, Leeds, Nottingham Forest, and I get what Nubian Prince is trying to say. Yeah, but I mean, 7 points is kind of a good cushion because because it's not guaranteed. Because even if Wolverhampton lose, it is not guaranteed that Leicester City, Leeds United, Nottingham Forest, and Everton will win their 4 games. It's not they can lose everything. Yeah, you understand? So that's why I say that 7 points gap is a good cushion, so it's really down to those 4 teams for me.
Yeah, well, quickly let's move on to the top 4 race. Kunle, you're going to help us dissect this. Looking pretty sure for Man City already.
Is there anything to that?
Man City. I just wanted to mention the team that could make a top 4 in this context. We all know that Man City, Arsenal, they're all secured for me. And look at Newcastle, Manchester United, Liverpool, and Brighton.
For me,
Brighton still have like 2 or 3 2 games to play.
Yes, absolutely. But for me, I actually think the top 4 is done and dusted, as far as I'm concerned. I think it is done and dusted, and I think this is how the top 4 is going to end. It is going to end with Newcastle in 3rd and Manchester United in 4th. And why I would say this is because Newcastle have shown unbelievable consistency. Look at them on the table there. They have lost only 4 games all season. Please, can you go back to the table, please? Yes, they have lost. Yeah, you can see. As you can see, they've lost only 4 games. Only 4 games all season. Look at the number of goals they have conceded, 27. It is the least of any team in the Premier League. So tell me how this team wants to just suddenly falter when we couldn't even beat them in the league. You understand? The first leg was a goalless draw, and then the second one was a 2-0 loss. So it's, for me, it's going to be very, very. For me, I think it's settled. Really, I think it's already settled. And let's not forget that United have a game in hand. So it's going to be. I know, yes, Liverpool are in a good run of form. But even if they win all their, but I think I understand where it might be coming from. Like, in that United have probably, they are kind of probably tired and all of that. Yeah. I know fatigue has set in. It showed yesterday against Brighton in the defeat, but I think they still have what it takes to get it over the line. Yes, Liverpool might do like they want to threaten, likewise Brighton, but I don't know. I just feel it's. I feel it's the top four is settled. If Liverpool eventually now maybe Manchester United collapses and Liverpool now eventually moves above them, then that is going to be a big disappointment for United. And even the even winning the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup will not even justify their season, because for you to just crash like that is rather very, very bad. So they need to make that top four, because if they don't make the top four, it will be difficult for them to buy players, because nobody wants to come to a club where they will be playing Europa League football.
Yeah,
Casemiro shouldn't be playing Europa League football. Rafael Varane shouldn't be playing Europa League football. It's in the Champions League. That's where they made their name. So that's why the top four is important, and they must get it.
All right, Robbie, do you have any final word on this top four? Kunle said it's going to be the way the league is right now. That's how it's going to end. Do you agree with that?
Well, I think I have to agree with him, or I would want to agree with him. But I think in the grand scheme of things, there still might be some twists and turns because right now, United is plagued with injury. And I said before that United will have to find a way to drag themselves across the finish line. The prize right now is not even the FA Cup final, is not the EPL. Obviously, they can't get the EPL. The prize right now for the team is that last spot that is for the Champions League. They cannot afford to play Europa League football again this season, because for those who will still be at the club next season, their morale will be down. So the Champions League will be a different experience for them, and I believe Eric Ten Hag and the hierarchy at United will go all out to the transfer market and be proactive rather than just sit down and react to what other teams are doing. United is a big club. United is a great club. They should more or less go into the transfer market with more or less an attribute that is very, very popular in Nigeria, which is point and kill. Meaning that they have to look at the player, identify the player, and go all out to get that player. Not when negotiation fails with other clubs, then they now come and mop up the scraps from that deal. If they want Bellingham, for instance, how much Borussia Dortmund, how much do you want for this guy? We want so amount. Yes, there's room for negotiation, and they have to show some seriousness with it. Ajax is not the place to go and get players. There are other clubs with very, very good players. There are other clubs, even in the EPL, with very, very good players, serious-minded players that United needs to get. Hopefully, they'll get it right next season and put some smiles on the faces of their fans.
Yes. Okay. I want us to also look at, let me see. These are the remaining matches for Arsenal before the end of the season. I think Arsenal has to, if you want it. Nubia Prince, this is Arsenal remaining matches for the season. It's looking good for Arsenal. What do you think? This weekend is going to be another massive game, which we are going to start talking about right now. The match preview between Newcastle versus Arsenal. What's your take, first of all?
Yeah,
I think that's the toughest. Yeah.
Yes.
And also, don't forget Brighton too.
I know there is Brighton, but the Brighton I saw yesterday, the problem with Brighton is once they go on all offensive, they make themselves extremely vulnerable at the back. And I think if you play Arsenal and you go all offensive, you are just setting yourself up for some disaster. So I think that would even Newcastle, when they came, don't forget that when Newcastle came to the Emirates, they were doing well, playing other clubs, they were picking up points that people never we say they could pick up. But when they came to Arsenal, they knew the only way they could leave the Emirates with something was to be extremely conservative, and that was what they did, because there is no way you go on all offensive that you'll be doubling up on Saka. And that was exactly the only way that Bond could actually survive against Bukayo Saka. He had Willock supporting him. And once you take Willock out of Newcastle's midfield, it's like you are taking the turbo out of their engine. They won't be as effective in their pressing as they do when he's there. So, but he had to leave the midfield to double up on Saka and to help Bond out, to be able to cope with the pace of Bukayo Saka. So for me, I think that's one thing that we'll have to play that wants to play against Newcastle tomorrow or Sunday, sorry. Because if Newcastle decides to go all offensive against Arsenal, they'll be setting themselves up. Just imagine the giant downborn against the fleet-footed Bukayo Saka. That could be a mismatch, and that could put them on the back foot for the better part of the game. So for them to survive against Arsenal, they need to be conservative. And when you are conservative, it means you lose your offensive edge. Literally, it means that you are settling down for 1 point. And I think, of course, if Newcastle gets 1 point against Arsenal, it's good for them. It's good for their top third spot, but definitely very injurious to Arsenal's push for the title. So, which means Arsenal needs to go on all offensive to try and score. But if Arsenal scores early, it helps them. It helps them settle the nerves, which means for Newcastle to be able to get anything out of the game, they need to go all out and try to attack, which makes them extremely vulnerable to counter-attack. And I think Arteta, in hindsight, has prepared for that game, and that was why he only gave Martinelli just a run out, and Bukayo Saka didn't play entire 90 minutes, and even Partey played barely maybe 20 minutes. So he's trying. I think he has Newcastle on his mind and said, okay, yes, Chelsea, of course, it's a derby. Regardless of Chelsea's form, derby will always be derby. And derby is not all about form, it's all about bragging rights, all about class, and all about wanting. You don't want your neighbors to have one over you. So I knew Chelsea were going to put up a fight. If they would rather put up a fight against Arsenal than put up a fight against Newcastle. We are not in the same town. So I expected that. But again, Arteta must have thought that whatever fight Chelsea will be putting up, it cannot be as stiff as Newcastle, because Newcastle are the team in form. They have form on their side, and they can afford to push Arsenal all the way. So he had to juggle the side, and that was why he could afford to give Kiwo, the baptism of fire he got. And don't forget that prior to that game, Arteta has been very wary about playing two left-footers in the centre-back position. But he felt, okay, I would rather experiment against a Chelsea side that has been misfiring. They've not scored goals in so many games. I would rather experiment against them than experiment against the Newcastle that hit Spurs for 6. So, and I really understand that. And of course, Kiwa got his debut in that game. And after that game, he came out well, which means now he can build on that. It's good for confidence, good for him. He can build on that in subsequent games. And each time we are talking about Kiwa's full Premier League debut, we talk about a fantastic performance against Chelsea. It's better than having your full Premier League debut against Newcastle and losing, or against Manchester City and losing. So it's good for confidence. So overall, I think the game would be an interesting one. But anybody thinking Arsenal will lose that game might just be in for a shocker, because I think, of course, Arsenal struggled against Chelsea. Reason being that, of course, they were low on confidence. They've gone 4 games without a win, so it was understandable that their confidence level would have dropped. But after beating Chelsea, now the confidence is back to where it used to be, and now they can afford to approach all other games feeling confident that yes, if we could get the result against Chelsea, we can push on. Now they know it's push or show. They know it has come to it is win or bust for them. If they must still remain in the title challenge till at least later games in the season, they need to win every game. There is zero room for error. The margin of error is absolutely zero. They can't afford they can't afford to drop points, because if you are expecting City to drop points, you need to do your own job to be able to maximize points City are dropping. So I think based on that, Arsenal will give it a push, and Arteta has records on his hand. If he's able to win this title, I'm going to keep the records to myself. If Arsenal wins this title, then I will let it out of the bag. But there is a record Arteta will be making. There will be history will be making if he's able to guide Arsenal to the Premier League title.
Okay, well, Kunle, I know you're going to have something to say. I want you to say something about this game quickly before we wrap up the show. Kunle, Arsenal have been, they think they are back. Well, for me, they are back after beating Chelsea. We all know. In fact, I don't know why. Nubia Prince, do you think you guys will lose to Chelsea? In fact, Enyimba will beat Chelsea.
No,
I'm not joking.
But football is a confidence game. If you've gone 4 games without a win, there's a way it plays on your psyche. You start doubting yourself, and that was exactly what happened. You get, if Arsenal had beaten Liverpool, if Arsenal had beaten Southampton and beaten West Ham, they would have put up a better resistance against Manchester City. Their confidence level would have been high. You get, and they would have known that even losing that game. I think one of the things that affected the game against City was the fact that Arsenal knew they could not afford to lose, and because they could not afford to lose, they were playing with the handbrake on, right? But if Arsenal had a 7-point pushing, and they knew that even if we lose this game, we are still fine, they would have been able to play without fear, and without playing without fear would have hurt Manchester City, because now.
But Nubian, please, if I may ask you, Nubian, wait, are you not wary of Newcastle? I mean, recent game. I mean, are you not wary of it? Do you think you guys should just run over them?
You know why?
What do you feel?
I'm not worried. You know why? Because I feel there are very few teams that can actually stand Arsenal toe-to-toe when it comes to offensive football. I think the only team that can go toe-to-toe with Arsenal offensively now is Manchester City. Every other team should be wary.
What about Man U?
No, which Man? No, Man U can't. Man U can't. Even when Man U played Arsenal earlier in this, they were conservative. They had to wait on the break, to hit Arsenal on the counter. They could not go all out on Arsenal and say, okay, let's go toe-to-toe offensively. They will struggle.
You hear him?
I heard him. Don't worry.
Okay, hold on, Rubian. I want you to speak under Newcastle right now. As if Chelsea. Do you think Arsenal can gets their heart back into this title race? I mean, Newcastle is massive now. In fact, at their ground,
it's going to be difficult for Arsenal.
Yeah,
I think I see worst case scenario is I think I see a draw.
A draw?
Yes, because look at Newcastle. See, one thing you should know. Look at this team.
Yeah,
they are so well balanced and blended. Like, look at their back line. That's why they've conceded the least goals.
A least goal.
Pope, Trippier, Shah. And they've been able to carry on. It's just amazing. Now, Newcastle has reached this point where they have the luxury of either picking Joelinton, Callum Wilson, or Alexander Isak. One can start, the other one will come off the bench, and you can almost be certain that these guys are going to score.
Yeah.
There's this guy who has been playing in Almiron's absence, Jacob Murphy. That guy is phenomenal. He has been phenomenal. He killed Tottenham Hotspur. And you look at it, that what is it that these guys are doing that is making them, stand up? It's simply what Eddie Howe is doing and his coaching methods,
Can I say something?
Hold on. Okay, you want to say something? Go ahead.
Yeah. Yes. What I want to say is this. It's very easy to overemphasize on the strength of your opponent while you ignore your own strength. Yes, you could mention Kylian, you could mention Trippier, you could mention Fabian Schär, but the truth is that their defense line stands on the feet of clay. And Dan Burn, that giant playing as right back, is a big weak link. That was why they couldn't leave him alone against Bukayo Saka, right? And if you are judging with their exploit against Tottenham Hotspur, now Tottenham Hotspur this season have the worst start in the season, in the Premier League. I'm talking about their first half performance is terrible. So it was not surprising that they hit them 5 in the first half, right?
Okay.
So you think that's not a yardstick?
It's not a yardstick. Meanwhile, they have they have conceded the least goals in the Premier League.
Now I am saying, look at the games they did not concede. Look at the games they didn't concede. You discover that they lost a bit of their offensive weapon in those games.
Wait, hope you know that. Hope you are aware. That's why I said Newcastle might decide to go defensive, okay? But if they decide to go defensive, if Arsenal, don't get it wrong. I said the worst result in this game for me, I see, would be a draw. And that I can see would probably be the most likely outcome. Because what will happen is, yes, Arsenal will have a go at them. But, they will set up. Those guys are very physical. You said, okay, you made mention of Dan Burn. Yes, he might not defend. But that is why someone else will go there to make cover for him. That goes to tell you that at least it will work and it will be under the ram. I mean, we saw what they did. We saw what they did in the first leg at the Emirates, despite everything that. And don't forget that they have a fantastic goalkeeper in Nick Pope as well. Let's not forget it.
They go into the game looking for just a point, and that will frustrate Arsenal. I agree with you. But if they decide to go on offensive against Arsenal, they will only have the
No. I don't think if you look at how Newcastle have played, that's why you will see that. That's why I'm impressed with them, and I really love what Eddie Howe is doing. Eddie Howe will not come out now against Manchester United. I don't think they came all out against United.
They came all out. They came all out.
No.
They
Look.
did.
If they came all out, even if they would come all out, it's because you are giving them the opportunity to. If Arsenal all of a sudden is slack and all these things, definitely they will have a go. The point is
about Ten Hag. I think Ten Hag is suffering from inferiority complex. Whenever he plays any decent team, he tends to go defensive. Same issue I had again.
Because of the caliber of players he has now.
No, you cannot blame. What is no?
No, I'm going somewhere.
You cannot know. You cannot know.
Would you say that Brighton had? Would you say that Shaya will agree with me? It's just unfortunate that it's not on now. You will agree with me. He kept saying that Manchester United have issues controlling games. Man, you will be too.
And that is okay. Wait. You just mentioned it. Wait, Nubian Prince, you just mentioned it. They have a problem controlling games. So if they have that problem controlling games, how do you now want them? How do you now think that, then if you have a problem controlling a game, then definitely that is why you would have to go, because he knows they can do it. So you just have to soak up the pressure at some point.
You see them against Brighton?
No, of course I did. Yeah, in the first half
they were literally waiting for counter-attacks opportunities to attack Brighton.
Yeah, now that was the normal thing.
Are you saying Brighton
do you want to go
have better players than Manchester United?
Brighton do not have better players, but Brighton plays better than
Nobody
Manchester
said
United.
Brighton don't play better. What I'm saying is,
it's not about players. Nubian Prince, look, it's not about, in this case, this is not a case of the play. It is a matter of how they play. That's the same thing with Newcastle. Even Newcastle United do not have, you can't tell me the caliber of those players. You can't compare. Do you want to compare a Bruno Guimaraes to a Casemiro, or is it Joe Willock, who was a former Arsenal player? You want to compare him to Bruno Fernandes? You understand? Or is it Dan Bon? Is it Dan Bon? Wait, is it Dan Bon you want to compare to? Is it Dan Bon you want to compare to Luke Shaw, or is it Fabian Shaw you want to compare to?
Dan Bon is playing right. Danbon is playing. Let's do comparison. Danbon is playing right back. Is one not better than Danbon?
No, that is look. That is. I'm just trying to let you understand that United haven't clicked. That is the thing. So Ten Hag, you will notice that. That's why I really give Ten Hag credit, because to be frank with you, I'm actually surprised that Manchester United could have gone this far, because it is very clear that there are a lot of lapses in that team. Right. So, that's why I'm not surprised that things seem to be cracking. That team is not there. Let me tell you something. Half of those players that are in that squad are not Ten Hag, because Ten Hag hasn't even implemented. United aren't even close to anything of what Ten Hag really wants to operate. Because the way Ten Hag plays, you play out from the back, you control, intense pressing. United have not showed a glimpse. The moment they want to try it, they are going to choke. But look at how Brighton does it effortlessly. And that's why Brighton are where they are. That's why you can see they are ahead of the way Brighton is. You can't play anyhow against them. Brighton is not that kind of team that, okay, if you make an error, you can maybe recover and all. It will be costly. You have to play them, because you look at the way they hold the ball. Come on. So this is the thing, you understand? So in this case, it is a matter of, yes, Manchester United might have the better players, but who is playing better between the two of them? That's where you have it.
All right, let's quickly, because of our time, we're going to wrap up the show. But before we wrap up the show, only this goes to you're going to lead us in this session. I mean, for a great man winning the Serie A, is it called Scudetto? Yeah.
Yeah, the Scudetto, that's what they call it. Yeah, Scudetto, in Italian. Yeah.
Italian, 33 years. And Napoli, they came out triumph. What's your take on this? I mean, how do you take this? This is massive.
It's really, really massive, for one thing. You see, in Italy, Italy has there's a kind of like a division in Italy. You see, you have the northern part of Italy that is the industrial base of the country, while the south, where Napoli is based, is the agricultural side. That is where they have most of the agricultural produce. Now, for years, there has been this kind of marginalization between both sides. The north being the industrial base is more prosperous, right? And that's where you have the likes of Juventus, Milan, Inter Milan, all of that. But the south has been marginalized because, the south, they look at them, you are the agricultural base, all you just give us are raw materials. Southern clubs have not been able to match up to the northern. That was why when Diego Maradona came in 1984, and they won the league for the first time, was it not in 1986 or something? Before they now won it again in 1990, it was a big deal because that was the first time ever that a southern club in Italy won the Serie A. Now, since that 1999, they've not gone there. Since that time, what has happened is Napoli has gone into bankruptcy. They've gone down all the way to the third division. You understand? We could have said Napoli could have been a club that would have even been wiped off the football, would have disappeared because of their financial struggles. But they came back up. And you could see that gradually they started with getting good players like Marek Hamšík, Edinson Cavani, Gonzalo Higuain. They were able to even attract top coaches like Rafael Benitez, Maurizio Sarri, and other So the progress has been steady. You understand? They've come close to winning the Serie A. Let's not forget all those years when Koulibaly was there. They were very strong. But the problem was Napoli were always missing it. But one thing I used to say is, when you come close a few times, it is only a sign that it is going to come. And they've been consistent at it. So it's no surprise that, with what's his name, Luciano Spalletti is doing, he has assembled a well-drilled. That is what I said. That is where I was trying to point out to what Nubian Prince said. You can't tell me that in that Napoli team now that you can't. Those players are not really great because they are not high-profile players, but they play well. Look at that Kvaratskhelia. He came from Georgia. Nobody knew him
at all.
But look at him now. He's arguably the best player in Europe because they play well. If you play well, you will be noticed. So it's no surprise. And you can't deny that Napoli have been arguably the best team in Europe this season, maybe after Arsenal, for much of the season, So it's really a massive one. And I'm sure you've seen pictures where the fans were coming out in the streets, And for this guy, Victor Osimhen, he scored the goal that
big up.
He has been phenomenal. I mean, I'm so pleased with with the way his career is going, because it shows that his career is progressing and is developing. The way this guy is going, he might even be, he's on his way to becoming the greatest ever Nigerian player. Yes.
Yeah.
Because he's in a team that is thriving. You can see how well he has played, the support he gets. He can't be in a better place at the moment than Napoli, And for me personally, I would want him to stay. I know there is pressure for him to leave, to go to Manchester United or maybe Bayern Munich. But see, I said maybe Chelsea. I said he should not come to Premier League yet because I love him and I want his career to be. Let him stay in Napoli for like 1 or 2. Yes, let him stay. Let him build his record because, if you look at Napoli is so revered because of Diego Maradona. But imagine if Napoli now go on to win even maybe the Champions League, win more league titles, win more titles than even Maradona won. It would mean that Osimhen is working his way into being maybe a bigger legend. Because if you look at Maradona is not a small person in that. They worship Maradona in that city because if you go all over the city, you will see his picture. There's even a temple where he has all his. Imagine if they do that for Victor Osimhen. Imagine where they begin to idolize him. That's going to be big, because I can't remember a Nigerian player that was, I think the only player, the club that idolized a player was Vitória Setúbal in Portugal for Rashidi Yekini. Yes. I think that's the only club I can think has idolized the player. But, Vitória Setúbal is not as big as Napoli, yeah? So imagine if that happens, that would be phenomenal. So I really want, I would really love for Osimhen to stay and to continue succeeding with Napoli.
All right, because of our time, people, guys, I want to thank you so much. In fact, Osimhen really made my day. I love it, since yesterday. And I'm sure Nubia Prince want to say something about it. Even Robbie, they want to say a lot about this great man in Nigeria. I'm proud to be a Nigerian at this moment. I mean, this guy is killing it. And I found that Robbie, this guy is so humble.
Yes, he's exquisitely so humble. At least let me say I have somebody in between him. I have a very, very close friend to him. And of course, my friend says so much about how humble Victor Osimhen is. Down to earth, very nice guy, very funny guy, and very, very hardworking guy.
All right, guys, I have to wrap up the show. Kunle, it's going to be massive over the weekend. I hope Arsenal is going to, well, Nubia Prince will tell us more later on.
So the game will end in a draw, don't worry.
You see. We're there here. You will see. All right, guys, I have to sign out right now. Kunle, thank you so much for joining us on this show. One love, bro.
All right, thanks a lot, boss. I appreciate it.
All right, Robbie. Great man.
Thank you so much.
All right, Nubia Prince. One love, bro.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
All right, one love, people. This is Alpha We Can Go. This is Intercontinental Sport TV. I love this game. I love this community. Please, if you're watching this for the first time, please subscribe to the channel. Smash your like on the video. And you know what? Share this video. Let's build up a community. And to all our fans, wherever you are, thank you so much for joining us. Until same time next week, I remain your main guy. Call me the Dawn. Bye for now.